Zadondani, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, as I promised, today we are going to be discussing Dr. Stone Reboot Byakuya. Which, honestly, I have to say right now that this is one of the best manga that I've read for being as short it is. It's not... Is it the best one? No. But it is up there, and I would definitely suggest getting it. That's without saying anything about the review. But don't worry, this video I'm going to try to avoid doing very many spoilers, except for I do have to state a few things, but not too much, so don't worry too much about there being any spoilers. So what exactly is Dr. Stone Reboot Byakuya? Well, as you may assume by the name, this story focuses on Byakuya as he and the rest of the crew survive what happens on Earth with the petrification, and then continues to talk about how they eventually made it down to Earth. But unlike the main series where they actually get to go into a lot more detail with Byakuya and the rest of them down on Earth, most of the manga actually takes place up in space, up on the International Space Station. And just a quick little note, that's it at the end of this. I'm not going to go into too many details, but yeah. Things have gotten a bit insane in this. Oh boy. But like I said, basically, this story is primarily focused on Byakuya as well as this little robot, Ray 37, which by the end of it becomes Ray 40 and then becomes Ray 01, which, not going to tell you too much about that, but yeah. Oh, there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens in this. So, what exactly is going on? Well, primarily it's going over a lot of the details and explaining that it was actually quite a bit more time than we actually think in the anime or in the manga for Dr. Stone. As, yeah, it takes them like 65 hours, I believe, to get through their entire situation to get back down to Earth. Which, honestly, that's not surprising. I actually thought that it might possibly have taken longer. But at the same time, in the manga and the anime, they make it out so that it looks like it's happening very fast. Like, oh, Byakuya is just rushing in, jumping into an escape pod, and launching towards Earth immediately. And all of that jazz. And they're not thinking, they're just going. When in actuality, they actually... that punch moment is actually just the crew saying, okay, you need to calm down, we need to think this through, and we actually need to figure out how we're going to get down there. And needless to say, it is a challenge, because within just a few hours, because of the fact that nobody is running anything, all power across the world suddenly just goes dead. Which, honestly, I have to say, that is insane to think about. That humans really have been necessary to actually run a lot of these things. And honestly, I love that they have to figure out how to do so much. Like, obviously, when we first get to see them in the manga or the series, we actually start to think, okay, why is it already looking like a lot of time has passed and all of this jazz? And it gets a little bit more explained. Basically, they get stuck on an island rather than going actually to Japan itself. They do eventually move there, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of chaos, and I don't want to get into all of that right now. But yeah. But let's actually talk about Ray, because Ray is the primary character of this short little volume. And basically, Ray is a robot that was specifically designed by Byakuya as basically robot to assist up in space. He designed it, but he didn't actually build it. Basically, real scientists who actually knew what they were doing were the ones who actually built it. Byakuya just gave them a basic example of what to go with, and they built it. And over time, they made it into this cute little robot that you can see. And honestly, Rei is adorable, and I love her. I think would probably be the best way to describe it. But yeah, and as I said, the majority of this story is about Rei. While mostly focusing in the early half, focusing on the main character, on Byakuya and his crew in their attempt to get down to Earth, that's pretty much all that we get to see with them. And we get to see a whole bunch of stuff with them, but we also get to see that Rei is pretty instrumental to that, calculating out the answers to a lot of these things. But that's only about half the volume. That's not a joke. Like, half the volume is just the stuff about Byakuya and the rest of the team getting down to Earth. The rest of it, the other half, is all about Rei figuring out how to survive and to keep the International Space Station up in the air. And it's all because of the fact that Rei asks Byakuya basically, will you return to me? And knowing, even though he knows that he won't be able to, he still cares for the little bot and just gives her a little bit of hope by saying, yeah, I'll be back. So take it easy, Rei. And honestly, I just love that moment because it really does define Rei as a character. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in the future of the main series. And yes, 100%, this is canon. And I will 100% be talking about it more as things continue on. Don't have time to talk about it right now, but yeah, 100% I absolutely believe that this will be considered canon in the main series. Primarily because of the fact that this is actually made almost completely by Boichi, who is the main artist in for Dr. Stone. Basically, Boichi made did all of the art for the main series, and decided, you know what, I'm going to make my own manga that is going to be specifically focused, that is going to be focusing on Byakuya as well as this new character, Rei. Richiro Inagaki is still involved, who is the person who is the story person for the original series, but not as much as this is basically Boichi's own thing, pretty much. There is some stuff that the two of them work together on, but yeah. Also, I haven't read this yet, but at the very end, you can actually see an afterword from the the science consultant. I don't want to go over everything that's going in here, but yeah, it actually explains a lot of the stuff that went on with the whole going into space and scientific information. And honestly, I haven't read it yet, but I do plan to read it, and I think that you guys should as well, because it's actually really interesting, to say the least. Oh, I wish I could actually go more in depth with all of that, but it's gonna take some time. Oh my gosh. And it's also something interesting to mention as well, is that we actually get to see the origins for the flag of Ichiki Village. And needless to say, it was very different at the beginning. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is a good little example of how everything went going forward. And honestly, it's really cool. Absolutely 100%, I do believe that you should absolutely read this story because it really is a really fun story that actually gets to go into a lot more detail than the main series did about these events, while also explaining something that is going to be very important by the end of the series. Since it is on the back, I think I might as well explain. Yeah, this is the International Space Station by the end of of this volume, meaning that a lot has changed, and basically Ray has done a crazy amount of work to get it to this point. And yes, this is happening at the exact same time that frickin' Senku is waking up, which I find absolutely insane to think about. That these two series are still connected, even if it's a small degree. I could be wrong, but I actually think that there was a moment where, in either the anime or the manga, and I forget where it was exactly, but I remember there being a moment where someone asks Senku, could that be the International Space Station? And he goes, no, that should have burned up years ago, which honestly always bugged me. Why is it exactly that the International Space Station would still be up there even if it should have burned up after all these years? But apparently it's still there, and this explains that, and it's awesome. Oh, I wish I could go into more detail with it, but at the same time, I want you guys to read this volume because it honestly is absolutely amazing. The exact spoilers and all of that stuff about the character surviving and all of that stuff, I mean, you kind of expect it, but because if you put in all of this effort into a character and they die, it's honestly going to feel like a ripoff to a certain degree. But with this actually being the way that it actually is so much better than I could have ever expected. And absolutely, I love this volume, and I hope that many of you guys will love it as much as I did. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait and see exactly what's going to be going on for the rest of the series going forward. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Because honestly, I'm really excited to see what you guys will actually be saying about this series, because I absolutely love it. And also, another important note, again, this is a one volume series. It does not it will not have any more, and it does not have any more. So why not pick it up? And if you like Dr. Stone, it's fantastic. So, like I said, why not pick it up? It's gonna be considered canon before too long. I mean, it's practically on the same level as several of the spin-offs for My Hero Academia, except for the fact that this has actually been this is basically confirmed canon because it was actually made by the creators. So, yeah. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I know it's been a bit crazy, and I've been a bit rambly, especially there at the end. But if you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, leave your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. And of course, if you are going to leave a theory, make sure to say theory review somewhere in a comment. And of course, if you are new, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. And even if you're not new, but you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and ring that notification bell because it really does help out a lot. And of course, if you do want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of our links down there, including our other channels, our social medias, and ways that you can support us financially, including our Patreon, and the merch store, and the book. And a big thank you to our current patron, Sheeny. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys next time. But on!